So if you're into higher wattages, lower ohm builds, really thick gauge wire, and just blowing massive clouds, this video is not going to be for you. Today we're going to check out two GTAs, yes, GTA, which I think stands for Genesis Tank Atomizer, but they're not Genny tanks. Today we're going to check out two tanks that have been on the market for quite a while actually, and I never reviewed them. And I was asked to review them, so I said, you know what? It's new to me, so what the hell? Today we check out two tanks, the Siren 22 and the Siren 25, both coming from DigiFlavor. And at the moment, I got them sitting on top of these beautiful stabwood, who makes these? Arctic Dolphin devices. And there will be a giveaway for both of these setups right here, somewhere in the video, so make sure you guys pay attention. I got a single coil in both of these. They're both single coil atomizers at around 45 watts. And I got some really thin gauge Clapton coils in each of these, or both of these. And let's have a vape. We'll go with the 22 first. Nice, nice. The 25. So the Siren 22 and 25 were sent over directly by DigiFlavor for the purpose of this review. If you guys are looking to pick one up or check one out after the video, I will have a link posted in the description. Currently at the moment, I did find them over at Vapor DNA, and they are asking $26.99 for either the 22 or the 25. So checking out the 22 and 25 Siren GTA, you could see that they're pretty much going to be the exact same. There are a few differences, but the one main difference is, of course, one's 22 millimeters and one's 25. Inside the box, you're going to get the Siren GTA with the included Delrin drip tip. Now, in both boxes, they're going to include the same exact accessories or parts. You're going to get a spare parts bag with the multi-tool, O-rings, post screws. They're also going to include an extra glass tank, and you'll get a mouth-to-lung Delrin drip tip. Both the 22 and the 25 are constructed of all stainless steel. They are available in a stainless steel or black finish. And of course, the 22 does measure 22 millimeters in diameter from the bottom to the top of the top cap, 44 millimeters tall. And the 25 measures 25 millimeters in diameter and measures 44 millimeters tall also. Now each of these will include two 510 drip tips. You're going to get a 5 millimeter bore Delrin drip tip, and you're going to get a mouth to lung Delrin drip tip. You'll notice the bore on there is really, really small for a nice tight draw. We do have top fill on these GTAs. You'll notice that we have a little bit of knurling around the top cap to make it much easier to remove the fill cap. Go ahead and unscrew the fill cap, and then there will be your two very large fill ports located at the top. Tank capacity on these two, we have a 4 ml Pyrex glass tank on the 22 and a 5 ml Pyrex glass tank on the 25. We do have single airflow control on the 22 and 25. All the air holes on the 22 and 25 are the exact same, so we have 4 settings in total. We have a 3.5 millimeter hole, a 3 millimeter, 2.5, and a 2 millimeter, and we do have stopping points on the airflow control ring. At the bottom, we do have Siren 22, 25 GTA laser etched into the finish. They are serialized, and in the center, we do have a gold-plated, non-adjustable 510 pin. So the 22 and 25 both have a two-piece tank section, but you'll notice on the 25, the difference here is that we have a viewing window on the chimney section, where on the 22, it's just a solid chimney. Breaking down on the 25, remove the build deck, and because the O-rings are fairly stiff on here, you can actually remove the build deck while still having juice inside the tank, which is nice. Pop off the glass tank, you get a closer look at that glass viewing window, and that glass is not removable. Now both the 22 and 25 have the exact same build deck and the exact same size. The airflow hole, the post hole, and the wicking holes are the exact same size on these two. 16 millimeters internal diameter on the build deck. Once again, that does apply to both. We do have the two post single coil design. Phillips head screws in the post. We have a bottom airflow hole that measures 3.5 millimeters, and you can actually install this cap, which will actually tighten off the airflow a little bit. 5 millimeter wicking holes along the sides, and they are using a peak insulator under the positive. Now what you can do, get your tweezers or kind of work in here, and you'll see there's knurling around this cap, and you can actually unscrew this cap and it will open up the airflow a little bit more. You'll be presented with just a large 3.5 millimeter air hole. Now the Siren is going to be for someone who prefers to use a single strand of wire or a really thin Clapton coil. This one is not going to work with your thicker gauge wire, your thicker alien coils, your thicker Clapton coils. It's just not going to fit because the wire, the lead, actually has to fit right here, right in between the screw and the post. And using a thicker gauge wire, for instance, like one of these Clapton coils that I always use, yeah, it's just not going to fit in there. I could mount it sideways like so and kind of squeeze it down inside there, but this coil is going to be way too hot for a single coil restricted vape like the Siren. So you don't want to use something crazy like this, even if you could fit it in there. Now using a thinner strand of wire, I have a single strand of wire right here. I think it's like a 26 gauge, and you'll notice it fits perfectly down inside there. So I did a build off camera, and it is a fused Clapton coil, as you could see there. And you don't have to wrap the leads completely around the screw head. It just has to go on at least one side of the screw head, like so. And this is a 5 wrap of Clapton coil ohming out at a 0.35. Only have it set to 28 watts. And you can see at 28 watts, this thing glows nicely at only 28 watts. Sorry to intrude on the video, but I want to give you guys some info on the giveaway. Going to be 2 winners. What you got to do is comment below. In your comment, let me know what your preferred wattage is. What wattage do you like to vape at? Like the video. Make sure that you are a subscriber. Once we hit 1,000 likes, I will announce 2 winners. One winner will receive the 25 millimeter version with the beautiful Arctic Dolphin Stabwood Adonis. Pairs up beautifully with the 25. And the other winner will get the 22 millimeter version with the smaller single 18650 Stabwood Adonis. So yeah, that's all you got to do, guys. Back to the review. Once you install your cotton, all you got to do is just take the cotton and measure it, because you want the cotton to hit the bottom of the deck. And make sure when you wick it up, don't just take your cotton ends, push them down, and throw the cap on. Very important. Get some needle tip tweezers, get some scissors, get something with a really fine tip, and brush the ends of the cotton. Get all the knots out of there so that way the cotton is nice and absorbent and it really pulls in that liquid. So I got a build on the 25 and I've been using a build on the 22. So with all that said, let's jump back up and let's have a vape. So even though this may not be my style of vape with the higher resistance and the lower wattage, but I know a lot of people out there still love their single coil builds. They still love their lower wattages, their higher resistance, and there's nothing wrong with it. Whether you vape 20 watts or 200 watts, it does not matter. If you use 1 battery devices or 4 battery devices, it doesn't matter. Whatever keeps you off cigarettes, that's all that matters. So don't be kind of stirred away from devices like this because you see all these videos of these 300 watt devices with these 10 mil tanks that have 12 coils in them. Don't think that you need something like that to get a good vape. You can enjoy a vape, you can get a very satisfying vape off something like 20, 30, or 40 watts. Now, if I were to vape something like this, I would probably just bump up my nic level. For instance, I vape at 3 milligram now, and if I were to use something like this, I would just bump it up to 6 milligrams, and I would probably get a nice, satisfying vape. So let's have a quick vape off these two. We'll jump through some pros and cons. Now, I have the 22 set to the very minimum, and we're going to do a mouth-to-lung vape off of here, if I can remember how to do it. Love that mouth to lung throat hit. Very nice. And the 25 got the airflow wide open. Both are at the same wattages. Let's have a vape. And as you can see, of course, you can get a lot of vapor off this. Just depends on how you vape it. If you have it set up for lots of airflow with the larger tip, you can still get a lot of vapor, or you can close it off, use the mouth to lung tip with the smallest airflow hole and get a nice restricted mouth to lung vape. So let's jump through some of the pros and cons on the Siren 22 and 25. Starting off with the pros. Pro number 1, I had no issues with build quality. The stainless steel, very well done. The black finish holds up nicely in my ultrasonic cleaner. All the O-rings seal off nice and tight. The threads are perfect, no sharp edges. I had zero issues with build quality, so thumbs up for that. The next pro is going to be the vape. They put out really good flavor. Now keep in mind, it is a single coil, so don't think you're going to get something like the Sherman that has dual 4mm coils in it, but it does put out a really nice, flavorful vape and a nice restricted vape. It is a restricted vape, and whether you vape it mouth to lung or direct lung, it does put out a decent amount of vapor. So the overall vape experience on both the 25 and the 22 have been beautiful. So thumbs up for that. The next pro are the drip tips. I'm glad they stuck with a nice small 510 tip and they didn't use anything too big on here. We have your standard traditional 510 tips, and they include two. You get the 5mm, and then you get the really small mouth to lung Delrin, which is nice and cool on the lips. And of course, you can use your own 510 drip tips, which is a big bonus. Thumbs up for that. The next pro are going to be the 4ml and 5ml tank options. These things hold a lot of liquid, and what's nice about them is because they're single coil, because you vape them at lower wattages, you don't burn through liquid as fast. And when I was vaping on these things, I was surprised because I'm so used to my larger tanks that burn through liquid. I hardly ever had to fill these things up, which is just a big bonus. So if you're looking to save on liquid, these are the tanks that you want to do it with. So thumbs up for that. The next pro is the fact that you can remove the build deck without having to drain the tank. So if you're, let's say you do a build on here and you mess something up, or your cotton's messed up or whatever, and you already filled the tank up, you could flip it over, remove the base. Because the O-rings are nice and tight, the glass tank's not going to pop off, so you don't have to worry about draining your liquid, which is a big bonus. So thumbs up for that. The next pro is really easy to build on. Just keep in mind that you use a thin gauge wire. You can use any single strand wire, probably up to like 24 gauge, but that might be a little too hot. But single strand works perfectly. If you want to use like an Alien coil or a Clapton coil, you can do it, but it has to be really thin wire, really thin. And you won't fit nothing chunky in here. Even if you could fit something big in here, I wouldn't recommend doing it because it's going to be too hot. It's going to evaporate that liquid too quickly, and you're going to get dry, burnt hits. So, but overall, building, wicking, very simple. And the last pro, no leaking whatsoever. I experienced nothing. No drops, no moisture, no nothing. As long as you just keep the tank like that, because the air hole is raised up pretty high off the deck. Now I'm pretty sure if you had them like laying like this or upside down, they probably would leak, but using them normally, just they're bone dry. So let's talk about some of the cons. Now I'm not gonna give these cons for being a single coil mouth to lung style vape. I'm not gonna give it a con for not having dual coils. I'm not gonna give it a con for the drip tips being too small. I'm not going to give it a con for the fact that you can't run it at 100 watts because these tanks are not designed for that. So therefore, we're not going to give them cons for that. If you want something that does dual coils or 100 watts or has more airflow, there is plenty out there. But this is going to be more for, like I said, the restricted lower wattage vapor. And with that said, as far as cons, I really don't have too many. The first con I noticed on the 25, the viewing window on the inside, you guys can see that. It gets condensation on the inside, so you can never really see what goes on inside there. It's kind of pointless, actually. You really can never, once you start vaping it, it just gets all kind of juiced up looking. So, yeah, con for that, of course. And the next con and the last con is just remember that little cap that goes over the airflow tube on the build deck. when you pull it out of the package, make sure it's tight, because I had one that was a little bit loose, and if that cap accidentally unloosens or unscrews or whatever while you're vaping and ends up touching your coil, it's going to be a nasty, nasty short. So yeah, just make sure, get your tweezers or something in there and just tighten it off. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a lower wattage vape, something that does a little bit higher resistance, something that's more of a relaxing vape and not too crazy, like for instance, this tank right here. You know, I love these big tanks, but not everyone vapes like that. So if you're looking for something lower wattage, something a little bit more tamed down, I think you'll be very happy with these Siren tanks. They're awesome. I really had no issues with them. And even if you are into the larger tanks and you're looking for something, let's say, just something smaller that doesn't produce much, and just something a little bit more lower key when you go out, picking up one of these and just bumping up your nick level actually will work really, really well. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. If you guys paid attention to the video, then you know exactly how to get in on these giveaways right here. Of course, you will get new tanks, but other than that, that's it. That's all I got for you today. If you have any comments or questions on either tank, please feel free to leave them below. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to everyone very, very soon. Make sure you guys build safe and vape on.